Paige Bueckers had a knee injury the other game that was pretty serious. It was against Villanova. This is actually the video. So she's going to lose the ball right here. And then she's going to die for it. And that could have ended bad. Camera people are so foul for showing her teammates' faces. Like, look at her face. Teammates are, like, terrified. This was her coach speaking about her injury right here.
Start lineup be a little bit different tomorrow. I'm glad I think I was right. Turned out to be pretty much the exact same thing.
The knee sprain or ankle too?
Well, the ankle's fine. The ankle's fine. Politically correct thing to say, lower body sprain. Anybody can't see through that, then they're not paying attention. But no, her ankle's fine. Her ankle's fine. I mean, it's sore. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it like her knee got twisted a certain way, her ankle got twisted a certain way. It was just an awkward thing.
With everything she's gone through, what goes through your mind when you see her on the ground like that?
The worst, and that's kind of like with everybody. You get shell shocked. I hope it's not what it looks like.
With the injury scare, a lot of people brought up her draft stock and what it could mean for her. She's already dealt with a season-ending injury. Another injury right there would have kind of sealed the deal right there. Like, that's two. Now, it actually brought up a discussion. People are saying they feel like Paige Bueckers would do a 6-year in college. Like, not go to the draft this year, but go next year. There's rumors she doesn't want to go to Dallas, but people are saying that because the WNBA is about to have a new collective bargaining agreement. And if she delays when she goes to the W, she has a chance of making more money. Because if she delays it another year, I mean, they're going to take her. It's not the NBA where the longer you wait, your stock goes down. That's not the case. It's the vid people have been talking about. I'm going to play this.
Big, bold predictions around moves in women's basketball.
Paige Bueckers will not declare for the WNBA draft this year.
That's interesting.
Well, first of all, she'd be locking herself into a rookie contract that is presumably worth far less than it would be were she to be drafted in 2026. So just financially, it doesn't make a ton of sense to play in the WNBA as a rookie in 2025 versus 2026. Also, there's been a lot of buzz around whether Paige actually wants to go to Dallas, given the instability with that organization and political climate in Texas too. You know, that factors into things like women's health rights there. And then I don't think UConn is going to win a national title this year. So I kind of feel like maybe one more year of Paige and AZ running the band back and that's their time. If she were to declare this year, she would lock into a 4-year rookie contract that averages somewhere around $85,000 per year. Whereas the expectation is that salaries will jump significantly with the new collective bargaining agreement. So she would have the opportunity to make a lot more money on her rookie contract if she waits in college for one more year.
And if she ends up doing that, that'll be really interesting. You know, she kind of plays a role in the ratings for next year. Like, people are going to watch because the fever, obviously, but she adds another element. Say Caitlin Clark isn't playing, Paige Bueckers is just another player people could tune into. She has a huge base, too. She ends up not going, it's kind of like, y'all got to make some decisions now. In response to that video, you know, people brought up this video page talking about it. So this is what she said.
Ever since I announced, like, you just look at the comments and you're like, yeah, she's staying because she's going to make so much more money staying in college and WNBA. And it's just like, you guys have literally no idea. Because, like, NIL, nothing changes. It's just, like, once you get to the league, like, the title changes. It's no longer an NIL deal. It's just an endorsement deal. But we have it because we performed on the basketball stage. So if we continue to perform as we go, like, in the league, they're going to continue to invest in you and continue to want to work with you. You're making NIL in college. Once you get to the WNBA, those endorsements are going to follow you on top of the salary that you're also now making, which you didn't have in college. It's really not that hard to educate yourself. But it's like people create these narratives in their head and it's so hard to undo it because then people just follow those narratives and then people who don't know nothing follow other people who don't know nothing. And it's just like a bunch of people who know nothing. So it's just...
You sound like a 35-year-old, like, wily vet right there. You're already in the real world.
About Paige's comment, something real interesting here I want you guys to see. It says, with the opt-out looming, the majority of players in the league have not signed long-term contracts past 2025, expecting a boost in salaries from a new CBA. As such, 2026 free agency, which will also line up with the launch of 2 new expansion teams in Toronto and Portland, could be as close to a free-for-all as we've ever seen. Phoenix Mercury general manager Nick even joked to the Washington Post that executives should treat free agency like fantasy football draft. We should all just get together, get a table, and we'll just do this thing in one room. See how teams are, like, coming into this season. After this season, we could just see some wild stuff, like these 2 superstars team up here. I don't know how the contracts will be. I wonder under the new ruling what a max contract will be in the WNBA. Like, I wonder how much it is. You know who's going to get the max? Like, Caitlin Clark. You got to be like a Caitlin Clark. a Sabrina. Caitlin should get a bonus because she's the reason all this is even happening for real. Now, as far as a mock draft, a lot of people feel like Olivia Miles should be the #1 pick over Paige Bueckers. She has been putting up numbers. I feel like it's already sealed that Paige is going #1. So much business around Paige, she kind of has to go #1 at this point. Unless something happens, like she has a devastating injury, God forbid, but she, I think, is kind of like sealed. But I wonder what it will take for Olivia to overlap Paige in the draft thing. Like, how much would she have to average? What would she have to do? I'm kind of curious about that. A lot of people have been saying they'll put her over. If Olivia ended up going #1, that would be crazy. That'll shock Twitter for sure. That'll be wild. I think this her talking about what she's been working on over the offseason.
5 made 3-pointers today.
Yeah. Cool.
It's clear that, from before your injury to now, you're a much better 3-point shooter. Is that something? How did you work on that during your rehab?
I feel like I didn't work on anything really. It was really just truthfully, just my confidence. I felt like before, I got hurt, I was thinking too much when I shot the ball. Teams were going under me. I was just in my head. And I feel like, it's hard to explain, but being injured, you look at things so differently. Not everything matters. If you miss a 3, it doesn't matter. I used to hang on to those misses so much and it would make me miss more. So now I have the mindset that just let it fly. I've, put the time in, I put the work in, and, it's showing on the court. Because it's routine, we always try and play for her. It was just even more so now that, unfortunately Jaden got hurt. He'll be back better than ever. But, we always want to play for Coach Ivy in every game. But there's definitely some added fuel to the fire, just given the circumstances. Yeah, it's all credit to my injury. As I mentioned earlier, that was the most difficult thing I've ever gone through. And just being on the court, I have no choice but to smile and play with joy, especially like the guards I get to play with. Hannah's the best in the country, and Sony as well. So I just play with such great guards, great, players all around that also play with joy. So it's hard not to be that way. And our coach, she's so passionate and she's always smiling too, even through the ups and downs. So, it's hard not to play with that joy. I don't know how to describe it either, to be honest. That's just characteristic of Hannah. And I just smiled when it went in.
Looks like her and Hannah don't even be trying. Like, watch these clips.
Last year, Olivia Miles, 23.
Yeah, this is crazy. It looks like she don't even be trying.
Miles for 3. The Irish.
Look at the type of shot she be taking.
North Carolina shows a hedge, and that's where Miles has improved. Not here in the first quarter. Miles, the no look, kicks it out to Hannah for 3.
They really different, I'm not gonna lie.
Coach Caldwell's time at Tennessee. Is this the Tennessee experience? Team to lead all scorers. Miles with 6. And there's Olivia. God dang is so long. And that's a Sooners will try and bounce back from.
Bro, they play like Geno Hill.
Except for the shot.
This is crazy.
Miles sees it.
Like, yo, y'all see this? Are y'all seeing how this is ridiculous?
Coach Banghart has gone with more 3-point shooters on the floor. They look for a push-off there by Miles. Hidalgo, good reposition on the perimeter.
This is crazy.
Nice box out Notre Dame, and then the leak out Miles.
Yeah, and then Hannah's is even crazier.
Hidalgo, second in the nation. As a result, by the way, of perhaps Gakdang Debbie, Liza Carlin gets the start, just her 4th of the season, and there's Hannah Hidalgo here in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Miles, the no look, kicks it out to.
I see why UConn struggled against them. Like this, their backcourt is OD.
Hidalgo, there's one of those steals.
Hey, like, look, this is like Chino Hills, bro. This is the female version of Chino Hills. Like, you can't. It's not much you can do with this.
Coach Caldwell's time at Tennessee.
Bro, the most dangerous teams are those that let their guards be guards.
They might not
Look at this. Come off a screen shot.
Look at Denarski get on.
Look, they look like they're not running no offense for real. They run offense, but y'all know what I mean?
They lost Hidalgo. And the triple. As Kelly tried to close out and ran. Here's Hidalgo. Oh, so quick with that first step. Scoop shot. Chicklets as she smiles on her way back down to the other end. 8. Dame above their average. It's been a weapon today. The whip pass, cross court, Prosper for 3 more. Banghart has gone with more 3-point shooters on the floor. They look for a push-off there by Miles. Hidalgo, good reposition on the perimeter. Dangerous recipe. They are good with the lead, and they score on the backside. And if you open up the floor, when you have 2 point guards on the floor, it's a good recipe, and it has been for Niele Ivey in these big games on the road. Oh, what a drop off.
Back to Paige. I think she still goes number 1 in my opinion. As long as she stay healthy. I hope she stays healthy. But I wonder what Miles would have to do to get that number 1 spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm curious. Is there, I really don't think there's any way. Paige has a package, like as far as the viewership she's gonna bring, her talent, her talent, the viewership she's gonna bring, the brand around her, her fan base. She has the whole package. People aren't really familiar with unless you really watch basketball. Like, I watch the NBA and WNBA. Like, unless you really watch basketball, you more than likely won't know the Notre Dame guards. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna know Paige Bueckers. You see her all the time. You're gonna know Juju Watkins. You see her all the time. Olivia Miles is not really mainstream. They had a big boom with Caitlin Clark. They're trying to build on that, and Paige Bueckers is perfect. Like her going to Dallas is another thing. That first matchup the viewership is gonna be through the roof. So yeah, so that's what it is. She doesn't really have that behind her, if that makes sense. So I don't know what it would take for her to go number 1, even though she's playing well. I just don't know what could take her to number 1. And then on top of that, I feel like the only way she can go number 1 is if Paige decides to do another year. And I don't think she does it. If she does, that'll be crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that'll be crazy. That might hurt her draft stock. I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section. And as always, it's your boy.